Life is a journey,
not a destination.
And you don't need to go it alone.
Join me for practical tips and strategies on using mindfulness techniques and creating mindset shifts that can reduce stress, improve productivity, and give you a fresh perspective on work and life.
This is a Candy Factory Mini.
Mastering the Mindful Mindset
with Jose Johnson.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Mastering the Mindful Mindset. I'm your host, Jose Johnson. Today, we're going to talk about more ways to mindfully set and achieve your goals for the new year and beyond. But first, let's set the stage properly by doing a little reset. Now, if you've watched any of my previous episodes, you'll hopefully remember this exercise. And if you haven't watched any yet, don't worry. You can still easily follow along. Just make sure you go back to episode 1 and watch it later so you can catch all of the details. So, either sitting or standing, I want you to put one hand just below your belly button and the other hand on the small of your back. And imagine your abdomen is like a big balloon. And we're just going to take a nice deep breath in, filling the belly. So we begin with a deep breath in. And then let it go. And again, a nice deep breath in. And relaxing, let it go. And one more deep breath in. And relaxing, let it go. All right, hopefully that little reset has allowed you to clear your mind and get you in the right state of mind for our time together today. Welcome to the new year. Did you make a New Year's resolution? Did you set your goals, create your intentions for 2021? Now, if the answer to any of those questions was yes, good for you. Today, I'm going to share with you some techniques that you can put into place to increase the odds of your success. And if your answer was no, or if you've already gotten off track, well, that's okay too, because I have some ways for you to get started and to stay on track. Now, if you remember from our last episode, research shows that 92% of people who set New Year's goals never achieve them, and 80% have given up by the beginning of February. Now, these are some very important facts for two reasons. First off, it shows that if you have unsuccessfully set goals in the past, you aren't alone. And that's an important fact to keep in mind. Sometimes people feel like they're the only ones that can't seem to figure things out, when in fact, you're actually in the vast majority. The second thing is that it is possible to achieve your goals. See, if the number was 100% of all people never achieve their goals, well, this would be a completely different conversation. But the fact that 8% do, well, that means that it is possible. And once you figure out how they did it, it increases your odds of being able to do the same thing. So, for example, just writing down your goals increases your odds of success by 33%. And just sticking things out through the end of January immediately places you in the top 20%. So, let's look at some ways that you can put yourself in the best position to achieve your goals. Now, hopefully you set your goals. I mean, you can't hit a target if you don't know what it is. And if you haven't set your goals yet, please make sure you go back to episode 19 for my tips on how to do that. But for the time being, I'm going to assume you have a pretty clear idea of the year you want to create. Yeah, you heard me right. The year you want to create. Never forget that your life is created by your actions and your attitudes. And they're the only things you have 100% control over. Every decision that you make creates a new outcome. And it's our attitudes and beliefs that drive our actions. So to change anything in your life, you have to first start by changing your mind. So the first step I want you to take is to leave your baggage at the door. Remember, whatever it is that you want to change in your life requires you to change your mindset about that issue, particularly if this is an area that you've been struggling with for a while. So whatever you have thought about your situation or about yourself in the past, you need to leave it there in the past. To upgrade your life, you need to upgrade your thinking. One of the best ways to perform that upgrade is to use affirmations. To affirm something is to declare it as fact. Affirmations are not wishy-washy. Affirmations are a concise statement of fact based on the way that we perceive reality. Now, notice that I said we perceive reality, and that's really the key ingredient. Look, I know I may have lost some of you with that concept of affirmations and creating your own reality. That may be a little too airy-fairy for you. But here's the reality about reality. It's all in your head. And you may think that affirmations are just positive self-talk that doesn't change anything. Well, what about negative self-talk? Doesn't that change things? When we have doubts and fears, they hold us back. And I'm sure everyone can look back on their lives and find examples of that. Examples of times when you talked yourself out of opportunities because you felt you weren't good enough or smart enough or any other excuses you could come up with. That's negative self-talk. And negative self-talk leads us to take negative actions, actions that take us away from our potential. So why shouldn't we use that same power for good? So we're going to start by creating positive affirmations about ourselves. Statements of how you feel about yourself related to your goal. Simple statements like, I am determined to work out every day. I am committed to making 10 customer calls a day. I am persistent in the pursuit of my goals. See, the beginning stages, these are more powerful affirmations than things like, I'm at my ideal weight or I'm a millionaire, because they're not about the results that you desire. They're just the qualities that you need to have to get the results you desire. It's easier to say and believe, and that's the vital component. It's easier to believe that you're dedicated, determined, or committed than it is to believe something that you can't see. Now, I'm not saying the other type of affirmations don't work. They do. I use them myself. I'm simply saying that focusing on those mental attributes are better at setting the foundation for your success, particularly if you've never used affirmations much in the past. Next, when developing your strategy to achieve your goals, use more carrots and less sticks. Now, what do I mean by that? Carrots and sticks are used as metaphors for our motivators. Carrots represent a reward, sticks represent punishment. Psychologists say that we are biologically wired to either chase pleasure or run away from pain. Carrots are the positives, sticks are the negatives. And sometimes the problem that we have with attaining our goals is that we take a negative outlook on the process. We focus more on what we have to give up as opposed to what we stand to gain. Now, there's a neural network that's called the reward pathway. The reward pathway reinforces behavior primarily through the production of dopamine, and dopamine is called the motivation molecule. And it's responsible for our internal drive to do things. The power of dopamine is one of the reasons why it's so hard to break addictive behaviors, whether it's drinking, smoking, eating sweets, or social media. When actions are tied to a reward, dopamine is generated. And we do love our dopamine. So we will continue to do the things that give us another hit. This is why framing your new actions in a positive light can be crucial to your success. One easy way to do this is to flip the script. If you're setting goals, it is more likely because you want to change. Because let's face facts, if you don't want to change, things will never change. And yet most people look at the process that they have to go through to change as punishment, like they're being forced to do something against their will. So flip the script by changing I have to I get to. So instead of saying I have to go to the gym every day, say I get to go to the gym every day. Or instead of saying I have to give up eating sweets, say things like I get to eat as many vegetables as I want. Another process related to this is to ask yourself the question, would I rather? Doing this helps you to establish your priorities. Remember that every choice you make has a consequence. It either moves you closer to your goal or further away. And most of the time, you are making either or decisions. You can either eat that second helping or not. You either study or you don't. Asking this question takes into account the carrot and the stick because you're looking at the possible pain you could experience if you say yes to the pleasure of the moment. And when you're faced with a decision of what to do, ask yourself the question, would I rather? And include the potential upsides and downsides. Would I rather eat the second helping or be able to fit into my favorite pair of jeans next week? Would I rather study or watch TV tonight and risk failing my test? Now, sometimes you do need to put off the long term for the immediate gratification. I mean, we all need downtime and we need to pamper ourselves. But when that becomes the rule instead of the exception, you begin to sabotage your success. Remember, this process should be done mindfully. You should observe your thoughts and behaviors without judgment. If you decide to watch TV instead of studying, hey, that's your choice. If you would rather eat that second or third helping, cool. But what you can't do is to complain about the fact that you aren't achieving your goals. You made the decision of what was most important to you, and you invested in it with your time, energy, and actions. So the results are exactly what you paid for. Now, we get to one of my favorite techniques, habits. First, let's start with the fact that you will need to create new habits if you want to achieve your goals. Remember what I said about the fact that our actions and our attitudes create a reality? One of the ways that that happens is through our habits. Habits are the things that we do, well, habitually. Habits are the things that we do without having to think about them. They're similar to our skills, things like driving a car, or the autonomic and reflexive processes in our bodies. But they aren't really the same. Autonomic and reflexive processes in the body are how we survive. Skills are how we do things. Habits are our routines and behaviors. So if we take driving a car, your skills are your ability to operate the vehicle, to steer, brake, change the radio station, all the important stuff. Your habits related to your driving are things like putting on your seatbelt, what route you take when you drive to the grocery store, and where you park when you get home. These are the things that you do without thinking that can help in the execution of your skill or hinder, as the case may be. A good habit supports your desired outcomes. A bad habit, not so much. So remember, to create change in your life, you have to change your actions. And actions that are done consistently become habits. But what kind of habits do you need? Well, that's the $1,000,000 question. My favorite type of habit to use is a type called a meta habit. Meta habits are the easiest way to make rapid progress towards your goals. One way of thinking about metas is that they're the habits that impact and support other habits. The easy way to think about it is that they're the one thing that when you fix, it makes everything else fall into place. So let's say that you have two goals that you're working towards. You want to get in better shape and you want to write a book. Now, if I were coaching you through your goal setting processes, there are plenty of sub habits that I would recommend. Things like getting on a regular workout schedule, doing meal prep, creating a consistent writing schedule, maybe practicing meditation to clear and focus your mind. But if you're like most people, the reason you haven't already accomplished your goals is that you feel like you don't have the time. And the reason you feel that way is that you're always too tired to get up and go to the gym, and your brain is too foggy at the end of the night to write because you've been rushing around all day. So in this case, the meta habit would be to get more rest. Now, that may seem counterintuitive to some, especially if you feel like you don't have enough time to get things done. But the lack of sleep affects your physical and mental performance, and it increases stress hormones that make it harder for you to lose weight, and to say nothing of what it does to your blood pressure. So by doing something as simple as making it a habit to go to bed 1 hour earlier, you could create benefit in multiple areas that are actually necessary in achieving your goal. All right, so there you have it. I hope you enjoyed our time together and that you have some new ideas on the processes of setting and achieving your goals. Now, if you have big things that you want to accomplish each year, you might need a little bit of help. And that's why I'm offering a special 6-week goal crushing program that starts on January 11th. This program will provide you weekly one-on-one and group coaching sessions that will help you to not only reach your goal, but to absolutely crush them. Just head to josejohnson.com/courses to register. Enrollment is open now, but it closes on January 9th. So let me help you make 2021 your best year yet. Now, if you have any questions or any topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, drop them in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe and share this episode with someone that you feel could benefit from this type of information. And also make sure that you take time to check out all the other great programming brought to you here on the Candy Factory Collective. So until next time, remember, it is what it is, but it becomes what you make it. So make it great. Mastering the Mindful Mindset is part of the Candy Factory mini-series and is a proud member of the Candy Factory Collective. You can find the show streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, and you can subscribe to the audio version anywhere you get your podcast.
Jose Johnson has traveled the world competing and teaching martial arts.
He's an entrepreneur, musician, author, and speaker.
Check out Jose's other podcast,
The Trumpet Gurus Hang.
And learn more about his book,
Mindfulness Secrets, at his website,
josejohnson.com.
Mastering the Mindful Mindset is produced by the Candy Factory Collective.
at the Candy Factory Co-working Campus in Lancaster, PA.
Our music was written and recorded by Jose. Production support by Anna Tran.
Administrative support by Ann Kirby, Ariana Henderson.
Krisha Martzel, Jason Mundock, and Robert Diggs.
Notes and links can be found at the show post at our website,
CandyFactoryCollective.com.
Candy Factory.
Collective.